What is your primary language? Dear friends, welcome to Fully Alive with Irene. What I meant by language is what comes out of our mouth, what we speak, what we proclaim, how we bless others. Jesus taught us that from the abundance of our heart, the mouth speaks. So what is in our heart? Might be the question that we ask. Is the abundance of our heart love, and we are speaking love? Or is the abundance of our heart something else? I imagine most of us would have our heart being quite a mixed bag. We are quite a mixed bag anyway, huh? We have the good in us, the weakness in us. And the environment that we grow up in, the friends that we surround ourselves with, all these things plays a role on how we speak that language of the heart, whether it's the language of love or the language that doesn't really speak love in that sense. So as we know human, in our human brain actually, we are from our ancestors, from our forefathers, we are quite wired to see the negative first, the threat, because like, oh, there's a poisonous snake, we have to avoid that. And oh, that one is, that's bad, there's tiger there, we have to hear that, okay, be vigilant and get away from that. And that is for survival. And the blessing of it also comes to us. We inherit that kind of tendencies as well. That the tendency to see the negative, the threat, the fear tendency, which is quite big. It's quite natural in us. And because of that, we tend to overlook and tend to not remember, tend to not magnify the good stuff. Like, oh, that beautiful butterfly over there, you probably don't see it. Oh, so-and-so is awesome, there's some good things. They tend not to talk about that. And I experienced it firsthand in my life, somebody that that's very dear to me. I was like raising this up, I believe I'm doing very well on my healing journey. And that person will say, yeah, that's good, I don't have to talk about it, you know about it. But what I keep hearing from the person is the magnification of what I haven't done, what is not good enough. And this is how the human brain tends to work. But the good news is we can rewire our brain. Because the reality, the truth is that at this moment, we don't have tiger to fight. Yeah, we are seldom in encounter with poisonous snakes, for example. Yeah, we are practically as adults, the threat of our survival is actually not that big. A lot of times, the survival brain should be, if I may say, should be taken over by the brain that thrives. We want to desire thriving. We want to desire seeing the good things. Yeah, we can rewire our brain to magnify the good. Wow, so what are the practical ways, you might be asking, how do I practically do it? So I can give you some examples. Yeah, first is that in conversation. So we want to surround ourselves with good friends, people who encourage us, to empower us, who will, cheer us on in our dream. One of the things is that in conversation, try to look for the 10% that is correct. I have the tendency as well, like whenever we talk to people, we listen, and I listen to answer. It's not listening for the sake of understanding and loving. Yeah, I fall into that trap quite often. So it takes a lot of conscious effort from us to intentionally listen, to love, and to look for the 10% that is correct. And this can be applied even to our so-called enemies, people that are not in good terms with us. They have their own wisdom, and what they say is at least 10% right. And if we focus our energy to look for that 10% that is right, we can affirm that, pick that up and affirm that 10% that is right. And what is the ripple effect? The other person felt, wow, I'm heard, I'm seen, that's awesome. And the effect from it is that the relationship improves. And we tend to expand with greater creativity. It brings out creativity in us and others as well. Well, try it out. See if that works. look for the 10%. And the other thing is also looking into us, into our surrounding. The culture that I grew up in, at least, has a a quite not a good emphasis when it comes to teasing. Teasing is rampant. And sometimes this kind of teasing, even though people laugh it off, it might not have a very good effect. And what do you get by teasing, actually? Negative teasing often brings people down, not bringing people up. If we perhaps are in that environment or we are the one who tease, it's probably time to stop. And if you're uncomfortable that people tease too much, well, you are your own person, you have your boundary. I would encourage you to voice it out and say, hey, that is not very nice. That is not so kind. And I'm uncomfortable that you say that. That's not true. Yeah, I would appreciate that you stop. And things like that can always come to a point where we speak like an adult in honor and also in love with each other. So dear friends, wherever you are at, and we're all at the journey, to how much we speak life to other people. Some of us maybe at just the beginning and say, I want to change my way. I want to start being that agent of life, of speaking life, to bring life to my environment. Or some of us who are very advanced, or some of us in the middle, or wherever we are at, I pray that you have all the graces that you need to be that agent of life.